Hello, everyone. Good evening. Severe Weather Team 9 meteorologist Nathan Chubb for this edition of Nate at 8. And as you can see, we have a special guest on this edition of Nate at 8, our intern for this summer, Rachel Grant. So, Rachel, how about you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So my name is Rachel Grant. I am a rising junior at Ohio University, and I'm studying broadcast meteorology.
And what sparked your interest in that?
Nothing else interested me. I did not like reading. I was cool at math. History was not my favorite subject, and I thought sciences were cool.
Sciences are cool. That's a good reason. That's a good reason. You're hoping to be then in the broadcast side of meteorology. So I guess why the broadcast side then, not just weather, but like why the broadcast side of it?
So I liked writing a little bit, and I did not see myself being at an office desk for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I get that. All right. Hey, Austin's joining us this evening, saying good evening. Today was very good. It certainly was. It wasn't too hot to mow, not at all, but it sure was very foggy during the weekend morning. So, yeah, it certainly was a nice day, Austin, that's for sure, across the area. So, without further ado, let's jump into this edition of Nate at 8. So, the beautiful weather just continues. It's going to be even warmer into Wednesdays. If you like today, you're going to love the next 2 days. It's a lot of the same, but just even warmer into the middle of the week. So the question, of course, that looms is when's the next round of rain, right? When does this beautiful stretch of weather come to an end? And we'll dive into that later into this edition of Nate at 8 as well. But Rachel, want to go down to where we're currently at? This was nice to see today after that cool into May.
Oh yes, it is wonderful. We're all sitting in the higher 60s, lower 70s, and the trajectory's really only up from here.
Yeah, it certainly is. Yeah, those 24-hour temperature change about 10 degrees and likely about the same again tomorrow. We'll add about another 10 degrees to those afternoon highs. So we go from the 70s likely to the 80s as we look ahead, which, Rachel, we're getting back finally to more seasonable values. It's a little back to what's more normal.
Yeah, we're starting to feel like the average high for now around 75, but as we're going into this week, it'll start to feel like the average high at the end of the month will actually be in the 80s. And we're also seeing the sun is sticking around a little bit longer. We're starting to see the sunrise setting closer to 9 p.m. as we're going into June, and right now I'm sitting around 8:46 p.m.
Yeah, it's nice to see those late sunsets this time of the year. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. And coming off of what we had in May, well, wet and cool, and no surprise there, right? From what we had, we all experienced that, especially for the latter part of May. In terms of the actual numbers, the average temperature 59.7 degrees. That was 1.5 degrees off of what has been the average over the past 30 years for the Wheeling area. Precipitation was 1.89 inches above that 30-year average of 4 inches. Now, in terms of how this ranks, it's the 7th wettest May on record, the wettest since 2004, and the 25th coolest May on record, the coolest since 2021. But really, the reality of that is, in terms of the temperatures, the more impressive stretch was the second half of May, which really, just digging up different statistics, was really the coolest second half of May for our area, dating back since closer to 2004 with last time we had this much precipitation in May. So it's been, on the par of about 20 years, we had this cool of a second half of May in the area. So certainly was something of significance in terms of just how cool it was for the latter part. And now we're looking up from here. Those temperatures are climbing 80s for Tuesday, closer to 90 then by Wednesday. That's going to feel hot to us coming off of those cool days at the end of May. Thursday then and Friday, notice a little bit of a cool down, then further cool down for this weekend. But even when we're talking about a cool down, it's still looking warmer with respect to what we had for last week. Charlene's joining us saying good evening. Good evening to you. Loving the warmer weather. Yes, indeed, Lola. It's certainly nice to see that warmer weather. Austin saying hello to you, Rachel. Hope that you have a great time at News 9. How about that? A little bit worried about wildfires this summer. So far, it's moderate in my area. So Austin saying hello.
Hello, Austin.
Teresa saying, please sunshine. Well, you're in luck. It's more's on the way the next couple of days. Thanks, Nate, for always keeping us in the loop. You're welcome there, Shelly. Thanks for tuning in. So the little bit of cool down we get Thursday and Friday. Well, you may be guessing what's going to happen. More cloud cover and more rain in the forecast. And getting behind a cold front passage in is what ushers in the further cool down for the weekend. And we start to see some more rain in the mix with these temperatures into the 80s. And this is when we'll see the dew points likely creep up a bit more. So we'll notice it be a bit humid by the middle of this week, but that Thursday and Friday is likely the more humid days that we'll have throughout this week. So not only dealing with some warmer temperatures, but we'll have likely some more muggy days in the mix as well. And again, I think the most muggy days this week will be Thursday and Friday. When we get behind that cold front, we'll see some drier air move in as we go into the weekend. So to be more pleasant feeling in terms of the humidity levels by the time we do get into the weekend. Christopher saying, will it be 90 degrees in Westminster, Maryland? Probably it'll be close to it. Maybe. I think it's going to be close to it. But yeah, we're getting very close to that. By Wednesday will be our warmest day. So could very well happen, Christopher. It'll be close to it, if not. Good evening there. Nice seeing the sunshine. Certainly, Renee. Very nice spotting that sunshine here to start off the work weekend. The good news is there's even more of it. I mean, we're barely tracking a cloud in sight on satellite across the area, and the cloud cover the next 5 days. Lots of it Tuesday and into Wednesday. Then we'll see more of that cloud cover mix back in Thursday, Friday, into Saturday. And yes, with that increase in the cloud cover, we'll spot the increase in rain chances as well. Now, while we're not tracking much the next 2 days, what we will be keeping a close eye on is smoke from the Canadian wildfires. We've already been dealing with this at times the past couple of days, and you may have already noticed it, that sky has had a bit of a milky or a hazy look to it. We've noticed that at times since this past weekend, and we're going to deal with more of it likely here going into the middle of the week. So while, yes, we have a lot of sunshine, it's not necessarily blue skies and sunshine, if you will, as again, that sky can have more of that milky, hazy look to it. To the air quality, though, the good news is while we're dealing with more of it, tomorrow, the air quality does not look to be reduced too much. There's certainly some reduction in air quality, but overall, not too bad. It's moderate. So, very sensitive people may wish to limit outdoor exertion. For most of us here, though, thankfully, nothing we have to really worry about with that reduction in air quality. Again, tomorrow's air quality forecast, moderate. So, not the best, but not getting to the point where it's really should be limiting ourselves outdoors. So thankfully, just dealing with some decrease in air quality, but most of us likely not going to be real impacted by that. The further impact we'll see really less so air quality, but more so that milky, hazy look to the sky. This can help enhance our sunrise and sunset. So we'll be looking for that beautiful sunset for this evening, and we'll be watching for that again the next couple of days. You can string together some pretty beautiful sunrise and sunsets. And Christopher saying, what about the smoke? And we just got to that, right? I think right as you're asking there, as we got to talking about that smoke that we'll see coming up. So again, into future casts, there's really not too much to be shown the next couple of days, right? It's going to be pretty quiet. But by the time we get into Thursday, this is when to watch for return of some rain. It does look to hold off for the beginning of the day Thursday. But as we progress throughout the day, this is when we'll spot those showers and thunderstorms. So the emphasis Thursday does look to be in the afternoon and evening. Once this does start, then we'll deal with some more scattered showers and thunderstorms, likely advancing going into the weekend. So, Rachel will be dealing with, once this starts, dealing with at least some of this likely continuing later into the week.
Yeah, so it's mostly just some rain and thunderstorms to kick off our weekend, but that won't be sticking around for the rest of the weekend. We'll be staying dry until Thursday afternoon, just by around 2 p.m. We just saw on our previous slide, and as we're going to Friday, that's when we'll see most of the rain, but it'll clear out by Saturday. So
yeah, it'd be nice that likely not sticking around too long for the weekend. Some lingering showers Saturday, but yeah, certainly nice that it'll be a drying trend by the time the weekend arrives. So we'll pick up most of our rain likely into Thursday and Friday, and then a lot of it will make its exit likely for the start of the weekend. So to wrap things up in your 9+1 day forecast, again, that hazy sunshine the next couple of days, temperatures ramping up into the 80s. Not going to be real humid the next 2 days, but you may start to notice it turn a bit humid, likely not to the extent where it's feeling any hotter than it already is. but dew points will start to creep up a bit into Wednesday. Thursday and Friday are the more muggy days. Highs still likely just in the 80s at that point. That's when we'll see a return of those showers and thunderstorms. Again, the emphasis Thursday, afternoon, evening, continuing then throughout the day Friday, so we can get them in the morning as well as the afternoon. And then a few of those showers continuing Saturday, likely by the end of the day, then drying back up. Staying dry then for Sunday, looking nice, but watch for that potential for more showers and thunderstorms for the latter part of Monday. So Christopher asking, is there any rain anytime soon? Yes, on its way into Thursday and Friday. But still the next 2 days, we get to enjoy some dry weather continuing. So a couple more days, really good opportunities to get out, enjoy the outdoors, do any more yard work before the rain moves back in later this week. And I know some people opening up their pools and when it was 60s out, hoping, around Memorial Day, really opening up the pool and getting it ready. And meanwhile, you're, wearing a sweatshirt outside. But the pool weather is finally upon us going into the middle of this week, as those temperatures will climb well in the 80s. So if you've been hoping for a pool day, the water's still probably pretty chilly, but unless you got a heated pool. But yeah, that's certainly some more poolside weather by the middle of this week. All right, everyone. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for joining us this evening, Rachel.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, you can always catch us for the latest coming up on News 9 at 10 on Fox Eye, News 9 tonight at 11. And of course, we'll see you on that next edition of Nate at 8 tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock. Until then, have a great night, and we'll see you on the next edition of Nate at 8.